Hi everyone, back again with another video, and this one is for a review of John Wick Chapter 4. Now, I was thinking of not really doing this, like a video review, but I really want to share my thoughts and the great appreciation I have for this film, because this is insane how good this is. There's so many things. First viewing I watched, I've seen this twice. The first time I watched it, there was a lot. But then it jumped to a whole other level on the second time I watched it. There's just so much here to appreciate on a filmmaking, artistic standpoint. It's a marvel to watch. It's incredible. So, let's get into that and just go through this list of things that I really appreciated. I'm going to also elaborate on some kind of thought-provoking things about the film at the end of the video as well. Kind of spoilerish, some of it, so just bear that in mind. When I'm going through this list, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of spoilers. It's kind of just very basic outline of what I appreciated, what I liked about this film. But then after that, it may be a bit more spoilerish, so just heads up with that. I'll give a warning though when I get to that point. But let's go through this list. So, okay, so things I liked in this movie. There's a lot of stuff in regards to the composition, the way this movie is filmed, that I want to first shed light on. So let's go through that. So number one's camera composition. I think this movie has the best cinematography out of all of them. Actually, even in particular with the camera composition, it's really good in parts. It's just great, symmetrical shots, and that's another point I give in a second as well. And just I would almost give a point for production design as well. But let me keep going further. So camera composition is really good. Number two is camera movements. The camera movements is really good as well. Just in the fight scenes, you really kind of feel the kind of tension and the there's a certain kind of even I would say what's the word? This is something I'll mention later on as well, but it's kind of like immersion with these camera movements. You kind of feel you're in the fight, you know? It's really good in that sense, I felt. So yeah, really solid camera movements. Number three is directing. The overall directing in the film. Same director from the very first one. He's gone through this whole series. He's done a terrific job. I think he used to be a stunt coordinator, and you could see that definitely in these movies. But this one's put it to a whole new level, I feel, which is just really impressive. So yeah, props to directing. Number four is symmetrical shots. Yeah, so I said before, the symmetry in this film I think is more shown than the other movies, and it's really beautiful. There's a lot of great shots in regards to just the symmetry. Particularly there's like a negotiation in Paris scene, and these two characters talking. You kind of see it in the trailer, but there's just this beautiful symmetrical shot there as well. But yeah, just great symmetry throughout the film in parts, so I really appreciated that. Number five is long takes. Now, I should more just say particularly long take, but overall, there is a lot of this has been the case for a lot of the films, but just great shots where you can really see the action, what's going on, and it's really impressive to watch and see how great the choreography is, all that kind of stuff. So really great. I'd particularly say long take, but in general still, there's a lot of good shots that go a lot longer than most action films. Most action films, there's a lot of cuts, too many quick cuts. This movie does not do that, which I really appreciate. So number six is kind of elaborating on that, wide shots. So you can really see what's going on. And that's one thing I really love about these John Wick films is, for the most part, you can really tell in the action, the choreography. You can see there's no doubt in your mind what's kind of going on. And I really like that is the case. Number seven is top-down shot. This was something that was just insane. This is only just for one particular bit in the film, but I had to give it that. And this is where long take comes into it as well. There's this really awesome top-down shot where it kind of just follows him around in this scene. Really adds to a certain sense of tension. And it's just very stylistic, very interesting to look at. I've never seen an action scene done like that before. I've heard people keep comparing it to Hotline Miami. I haven't seen that. I think it's a game. I think that's what that is. And that's really cool, that comparison to that, and maybe that movie is kind of referencing that. I've heard some people say this definitely does reference other type of films and even video games, which is really cool that they're doing that. But this top-down shot, it's so seamless the way it's done too. It kind of starts as a normal shot, and then it kind of goes up slowly like this, and then it's like, what the hell is this? Like, I think I slightly heard about it from some reviewer, but I wasn't expecting it to go as long as what it did. I was like, yo, what the hell? There might be some sneaky cuts put in, but even still, it feels seamless. So that's all that matters to me, and it was great. It was quite jaw-dropping. I was like, you're kidding me. And the second time I watched it, I was still surprised at how long it went. So that was really cool. Props to that shot. I think a lot of people, I've seen so many comments like talking about that particular shot, and no wonder. It's so cool. Next thing, number 8 is the lighting. Actually, number 8 and 9. 8 is lighting, 9 is color palette. So that's been the case with all these films, is it's really beautiful to look at in regards to the colors and the light. It's just, they come together so well, and it's just, you can really appreciate that aspect, and it's just makes the movie so beautiful to look at, even just in the non-action scenes. I remember particularly this new character played by Bill Skarsgård, the first scene and there's these big white pillars and then this orange light. It looks so cool. It actually somewhat reminded me of Blade Runner 2049 in parts, and I was like, yo, what the hell is this? So yeah, really beautiful use of color and lighting. Next thing, so we're still talking about the technical aspects. We're not talking about the story still. We're still not even talking about the the performances, nothing. We're still talking about the filmmaking, and it's ready at 10 things. Like, how impressive is that? There is not many films that are able to just have so many good aspects in regards to filmmaking, right? I have got a few on my channel, but this one, it's insane just how much there is to appreciate. So, let's keep going. So, number 10 is stunt work. The stunt work in the film is insane. Like, the stair scene, I'm not going to say anything else, but that was insane. The roundabout scene, and even the one in Japan is quite insane. Just certain things with the stunt work. What can I say? It's incredible. And next thing, number 11, kind of along with the stunt work, the choreography. The fight scenes almost feel kind of like a dance in the best way I mean by that. It's just like such a great dance, and a violent dance, I guess you could say, but it's just so well done, the choreography. Like, they would have just, the amount of effort it would have taken to do that stuff, and then you compare it to action films from like Marvel films or like from Taken, from one of the worst. It's like, yo, what the hell is this? Like, look at the difference between well choreographed stuff and stuff that's just haphazard. Not much effort was put into it. It's unfortunate when films kind of like the Bourne films, and they did quite an amount of effort with the stunt work, and it's all cut up so haphazard. I get why sometimes they do that. It's to try and add the tension, add a sense of tension, and kind of make you feel because a fight does happen fast, right? Usually a lot of fights, they come and go so quick. It's done within usually seconds. Like a minute usually at most, and then the fight's over. But that's not the case with John Wick. John Wick, there's so many dudes for starters. It's not just one dude he's fighting. It's like 10 to 20 sometimes. So that on its own. But not only that, it's the case of like, how do I put this? It's like, it's not only just like how many, but it's also like both people are relatively well trained in fighting in some cases. And so, of course, it's not going to just be like fight scene done. There's a lot going on there. And that's why it's cool to kind of show it in this way where you can really see it with great choreography, because they are both well trained. And that's the point of it, right? I feel. So I really applaud the choreography and showing these two people really good at fighting duke it out, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I really appreciate that they really put a lot of work in with the choreography and the stunt work and all the action scenes and the way they execute it with the wide shots and the compositions they choose. And, yeah, all that I think is really top-notch. Moving on. Number 12, this is something I haven't done with many of the John Wick films, but locations used. This movie has a bit of globetrotting. It kind of reminds me of like a James Bond film, honestly. And it's really cool that is the case. The second movie had a bit of globetrotting. He went to like Rome and stuff. The third one had a little bit too, I guess. But it's just like, this one I felt like had the most. And it was really cool. It was like that. It kind of put it on a different level. And it gave it a bit of variety, considering this is quite a long film. To have some different locations, different looks throughout the film, keeps it fresh, you know. So I kind of like that they have all these different locations. And it's shown how far this film has gone. I'm guessing this one has the highest budget, and it definitely shows with the locations and all the other stuff. So yeah, I really appreciate that they made the most of that with the locations. Next thing, number 13, the acting. Now, I know what you're going to say. Keanu Reeves ain't the greatest. I know. But in a sense of the action scenes, he does a solid job, I think, there. But I think the other supporting actors here really do a good job. And they're quite memorable and humorous at times, too. So, like Laurence Fishburne. What's some of the other dudes? Like the guy... what do we have here? So, Donnie Yen was cool. I really liked him. Bill Skarsgård did a good job. There's even a certain part of the film that reminded me so much of Heath Ledger's Joker. He kind of stabs this guy, and as he's talking to him, it's kind of like a close-up shot of him, and he kind of does that kind of thing, like with his tongue. And I'm like, what the hell was that? So it kind of shows a psychotic side to him, which fits because he's quite a. He seems like a guy that's very kind of tries to be. Very posh and orderly, you know, like this. But then there's these moments where he kind of comes out and he's quite vicious. But yeah, I quite liked his character, but the performance by Bill Skarsgård, he did a good job with that. Ian McShane, he was cool. He's been great throughout all the films. I really like his performances in this. Oh yes, Lance Reddick. And rest in peace, by the way, Lance Reddick as well. He only had a small part in this film, but I've liked him throughout all the films. I think he's there's something about him, like his voice. I think he's a cool character. So it was unfortunate that happened to him in real life from cancer. So I think it was cancer, wasn't it? I thought it was something that they said it was natural causes, and he was only in like his 60s or something, which was quite interesting. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna quickly clarify that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure yeah, natural causes. And he was only like 60 years old. And natural causes? Anyway. Fair enough. Yeah. But anyway, he did a great job when he was in it. I'm guessing he kind of knew... I have a feeling that maybe they knew something was off. You know what I mean? I'm guessing he may have known something like... he was going to die, because it was quite a small role he had in this film, but I did like it when he was in it. So, but anyway, moving on. Number 14, the music. This has been an occurring thing throughout all the films, is I really like the music used. I can see some people say it kind of seems over the top at times and really, it's trying to be badass, but I think it works. I think it really, this is the one movie, honestly, and I think the music helps with this. I felt my heart pumping as I was watching it. Like, I was, like, in it. You know what I mean? I felt so tense sometimes in the action scenes. And even though I kind of knew John had it, it was like, I don't know, there was something about it. Like, I guess the way it was shot. And I loved, like, when they're fighting, like all the stuff like that. I don't know, there's something about it. I really like the music, though, as well. I think it really adds to that feeling, in the film. So, yeah, top-notch music, I feel. And even the music choices that they had as well, I kind of liked that they came back to that, because I feel like in the previous two didn't have a lot of, like, songs, from what I can remember. The first one did, and I kind of like that for what the music choices they had. But in this one, the last two, they didn't have as many that I remember. It was just kind of like the soundtrack they made for the movie. But yeah, I liked in this one that they had actual different songs used, and I liked the choices that they used. I thought they were good. So number 15 is characters, which is something very new. I think I may have given main character in the first one. I kind of related to him and his situation and what happened. He's quite a badass dude in the first one. The other two, I was kind of like, I didn't get so pulled by that anymore. But the first one, I very much liked the main character. But this one, there was some really good supporting characters, particularly with Donnie Yen, and then also Ian McShane, I would say as well, in a way, Laurence Fishburne. But then also, on top of it, what the heck is this guy's name? He's a new guy. I've never seen him in anything. Yeah, he's a tracker. That's all I'll say about him. Yeah, Shamir Anderson. I think that's his name. He was cool. Like, I really liked his character. He was interesting. So, yeah, I hope to see him in more films, honestly. There was something about him. He really pulled off the humor when he needed to do that. And then just overall, I think he did a good job performance-wise. So, yeah, solid job with him. But, yeah, just something with the characters. I can definitely see they could do spin-offs with certain characters now. And I kind of like that. And also, there's this Japanese character as well. And she was pretty cool, too. And her father as well was quite a cool character as well. So, yeah, there's quite a few characters in this film that I liked, along with John Wick's character, you know. So yeah, that was something that surprised me, was the characters. And I think on the first viewing, I didn't really appreciate them as much. But in the second viewing, I was like, yo, these characters are actually really cool. So yeah, props to that as well. You see how big this list is. It's insane. Like, we're getting through it, but there's still quite a few to go. So let's keep going. I might kind of pick up the pace a bit, but let's keep going. So number 16 is Humour. This has been the case for all of them. There's a slight humor and kind of self-awareness to what it is, I feel. I feel like some people don't notice that, but I definitely feel that there's a certain self-awareness to these movies. And just in general, there's some humor that kind of lightens it up a bit, because it can be quite serious in parts, but I like that every now and then they have humor. So yeah, props to that as well. Number 17 is Immersion. I mentioned this slightly before, but there was something more immersive about this film. I think it was the fight scenes, the choreography. I don't know, there was just something about it. I think what's interesting with the John Wick films is, even though he fights a lot of people, it's grounded. It's not like Fast and Furious where they're like jumping from skyscraper to skyscraper. They're simple, just fight scenes, you know, like the gun fu stuff, and then just hand-to-hand combat. And I think that kind of keeps a certain groundedness, and it kind of still makes it immersive. So I really like that. They're keeping with that. They're not going too far with really going over the top, you know what I mean? And they easily could, but I appreciate that they don't go that far with it. And maybe at some point they will, but they'll still somewhat ground it still with the hand-to-hand combat and the gun fu. As long as they kind of keep that and don't go too far with the crazy stuff, I'll appreciate that. So next thing, number 18, is brutal and shocking moments. I think every film I've slightly had this, but there's just those moments, really quick they usually are, and it's just like, ooh, you know. Yeah, it gets you going, and a lot of the theatre gets that reaction too. So it's great. It's a great theatre experience to see these in theatres, that's for sure. But yeah, so definitely a point for that. Number 19, badass moments. I think this is something I've put in each one of the John Wick films, but John Wick, he's a badass dude. And even just the way people talk about him, especially in the first one too, like this scene.
I heard you struck my son.
Yes, sir, I did.
Yeah, may I ask why?
Yeah, well, because he stole John Wick's car, sir, and killed his dog.
Oh. Love that. But yeah, so badass moments. Yeah, of course. Number 20. See, we're still going. Tension. This is something I've mentioned kind of throughout this video, but like the tension particularly showed in this one. As I said, I felt my heart beating in certain parts, and that was just really cool to see that. So, and to kind of feel that. So yeah, great tension in this one, that's for sure. Number 21, thought-provoking. Now this is something you're going to be like, what? John Wick, thought-provoking? But just hear me out. I'll talk about that a bit later, because it's a bit spoilery, particularly with the ending though as well. But anyway, thought-provoking, that's for sure. Number 22, it's insane. all right, this one really pushes it. Not in regards to like going really absurd, but just insane with certain location choices with the action scenes. That's the thing too with the other films. This is why I also gave locations use. The locations didn't so much matter but with the action scenes. They were just in a building somewhere and fighting. But this one had particular locations that added to the action scene. So I really love that that was the case. So, but yeah, it just added on top of the insanity of the action scenes. So yeah, I really do love the how insane this film was in parts. So yeah, definitely that as well. Number 23, action scenes, just in general. I had to just give it an in general kind of bonus point for that. But just the overall action scenes are insane. I just wanted to give an extra point to that because they're quite, every one has somewhat just memorable moments in them. They're not just these quick, done, move on. No, they're actually quite memorable set pieces for the action scenes. So I really do appreciate every single one and what they did. So, number 24. Rewatchability. I can see myself buying this on probably 4K. That's what you call it, right? 4K high definition. Yeah, or even just standard Blu-ray. But I'll definitely get it in one of those too, because I'm seeing myself definitely watching these many times over. Just as I have with the last three, I've watched the last three of them quite often. I've came back to them and just appreciate them so much. So yeah, definitely rewatchable. It's honestly baffling. You know what? I'll come to that in a second. Number 25, pacing. I know some people say this movie's a slog, but I don't know. To me, I really there is parts of story, and just they do kind of take a while sometimes to get to the next set piece. But honestly, I was just into it. I was just so into it, and each action scene, before it kind of gets a little bit too, like dragging a bit too much, there's an action scene. And I found the stuff they were talking about and the somewhat, I guess, a little bit of world building still, I still found that interesting. So I honestly don't see that at all, especially in second viewing. First viewing, there were parts where I was like, oh, maybe they could have cut that out. But second viewing, interestingly enough, I actually appreciated the way the movie was paced. So there we go. And last but not least, number 26 is the ending. There you go. Yeah, so this is the best one out of all of them. I don't think any of them... No. I know none of them have gotten as high as this one. So, 26 things. At the moment, this ranks as my second favorite horror action movie of all time. At least at this moment. I know some people are like, oh, what about The Raid? What about... what's some other really good ones? Like Jackie Chan ones. Honestly, I haven't seen probably as many Jackie Chan ones as I should. I probably should see. And there's still a lot of foreign films, like martial art type of ones I haven't seen. So, and I have seen IP Man. I think this is better than that. Yeah, and that's just me. This is just what I saw in the film. And as you can see, that's a pretty big size list here. You may not agree with all of it, but still, for me, you'll probably agree with a good chunk of these. So, take it for what you will. The crazy thing is, though, these movies are really keeping the quality, which is impressive, honestly. How many series of movies can you say really do this that well? There's not many. There's probably like a handful of films that are actually able to keep the quality up between each and even get better. Like, what the hell? Get better than the first one. Like, usually the first one's the best, and then they slightly kind of lose their quality a little bit over time. But this one's just... It's insane. It's honestly insane how good this is. And honestly, that's why I gave a point for it. It's insane. It's insane how good it is. At least for me. I'm quite blown away with how this is and just how good it is, honestly. At least for me. Like, it ticks so many boxes for me. And I find that really impressive, honestly. Okay, so in regards to where it ranks, I'm shocked. It's at number 6 of my best to worst at the moment. Now, there has been, since I've started this list, I've only got, I think, about 300 films on this list, right? But even still, out of those 300, there's a lot of really good films, right? 393, nearly 400 films on this list. I have seen, well, at least according to Letterboxd, it's probably more, but I have seen 1,258 films in my life, roughly. So there's still a lot of room there for more films, right? That I have seen. So that being said, this list is quite small, like compared to how many I've actually seen. I've only started this list, I think, a year ago or a year or two ago. So it's still, this list is still in the works. So that this may change. I think there will be blood, and some Stanley Kubrick films I think haven't gotten on that list just yet. So the rank may change. I'm not saying it's going to stay at number 6 forever. No, it'll definitely, this list is ever changing, ever evolving. My tastes change. I'm never going to say like they are stuck, glued where they are. No, my opinions change all the time. My preferences change. The things I appreciate change. My list even grows bigger for the things I find and appreciate in films. Like I just recently added directing, just as a general point. So there's a lot of stuff. And I think I recently just added cinematography too as a point, which I didn't put in the John Wick thing, but if I did see it again, I'd probably add that as well. Or maybe I would change cinematography with camera composition or something. But anyway, yeah, so this is still a growing list, but that being said, it's still ranking really high, which is just, it's amazing to see where it's sitting at the moment. Just a second. Just restarted the recording. I've literally been talking for like nearly half an hour about this goddamn movie, and I haven't even gotten to certain points that I want to bring up. So I've talked about how impressive it is that it's as high as it is on my list. But not only that, but like it's able to keep its quality, which is really impressive. But the next thing I think I wanted to talk about... Okay, so there's two things I want to kind of elaborate a bit more on. Kind of the ending and also the thought-provoking stuff. So what I'm going to start with is something that was thought-provoking to me and that kind of popped into my head early on in the film. And that is... I particularly noticed in this film when he's literally just spreading so much death. Like his character is literally just... He's almost like a cancer just running around through this organization, this hitman organization, and he's getting so many people killed that even he would consider friends. Alright, you know what? Spoiler warning. Anyone that hasn't seen this, double think of watching the rest of this video. So you've gotten my list, you've gotten, I guess, my rating where it ranks. So yeah, this movie's really good. So highly, highly, highly recommend you check it out if you haven't already. I imagine fans have already all checked this out. So yeah, this has been out for a while now. I think it's been about a month. Yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. If you haven't seen it, please leave the video now so you don't get certain things spoiled. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Okay, now on to the spoiler stuff. So where was I up to? Yes, so he's literally leaving just dead bodies behind him. Now, some of them he's killed, but some not, because of the high table going, nope, there's consequences, and he shoots off this person. And one person earlier on is Lance Reddick's character. Yeah, Lance Reddick. That's his name, right? Yes, Lance Reddick. So Lance Reddick's character, gone. Early on, Bill Skarsgård shoots him. And it's just, it really hit me. I was like, yo, what? And I did know about he died, so I was like, oh, that's probably why. So yeah, it was unfortunate, but yeah, I guess it is what it is, hey. But it's just like, oh, such is life. They say that a few times in this film. But yeah, yeah, so that did strike me. And it's just, but not only that, when he runs to Japan, the guy that runs the Continental there in this city in Japan, he gets killed and he was friends with John Wick. So he gave him safe harbor and all this. And then his daughter's pissed at him. And then I think someone else got killed too. And then he kills off the dude that runs one of the big guys on the high table in the desert. So there's just like, now you could say, oh well, some of them deserve it, and it's like, yeah, okay, fair enough. But it's like there is a lot that he's just, some of what he would consider friends that have just been killed off. Even in the first movie, the guy that helps him, he got killed off, played by oh gosh, why am I blanking on his name? He played as the Goblin in Spider-Man. Why am I blanking on his name? Willem Dafoe. There we go. Like, yo, it's just, there's a lot of characters that just get killed off, But, and I kind of saw this as a problem. I was like, yo, this guy's just, just die. I'm not gonna lie, like, if he was dead, there would be less destruction. But wait. We're not talking about some high integrity business here. We're talking about a fucking criminal organization, like the mafia or something, right? Now, you could say it's a bit more higher integrity than that, but still, right? We're talking about a criminal organization. He's just a wrench in the works, okay? He's come back when he shouldn't be back, because, once you get out, that's usually you're out, you're done, finished. But no, he's back. And him being back is like this big shitstorm for these criminals. So you could even just symbolize it as not even just a person, but just as this is bound to happen. Like this is as I said, a low integrity system of crime and killing and getting paid for that. All this. And so John Wick's just one of those things that's just mucking with the system. And yeah, some good people are going to get killed, or quote unquote good, like more moral, I guess you could say, have a bit more integrity. But that's how it is. This is a corrupted system, and it's going to have a lot of backfire, So, see, this is what I mean. It's quite thought-provoking when you think about it. Like, I never really considered this until this film. Maybe I'm just stupid. I didn't really thought of it till now. But really, particularly this film, I was like, yo, this guy. But the interesting thing is the ending now. In the end of the film, it's meant to look like he's dead. That he dies. He gets in this duel thing with Donnie Yen's character, and this and that. The main bad guy by Bill Skarsgård gets killed off by their trickery. And I love that thing too. It's very thought-provoking of like how they were actually plotting to get him killed. And there's like little subtle things characters say throughout the film. And even John Wick's death, there's certain subtle things that get said, and it's like it might have been meant in a different way, but they get it, you know what I mean? It's very subtle, but it's like, I just love these little moments. And there's even something else I'll mention in a second too, but it's like, the ending is like, the way I see it, whether or not John Wick's dead or alive, he's free. Now, he may come back again. Who knows? They may make more John Wick movies, but that being said, he's free. Right now, he's free. Right? Then no one's after him because they think he's dead. There you go. So, I like that. I actually kind of like this ending. When I really think about it, it's kind of good, honest. I would be happy, honestly, if they stopped it now. But I imagine they're going to at least do spin-offs with different characters. That tracker dude, the lady they could even do, and then also the blind guy. So they could definitely do other stories with this, and I imagine they will. But I think recently, actually, I just heard yesterday that they're making a Continental series. So I don't know, like a 3-part series or something. So I don't know what that's going to be like, but I guess we'll see. And I don't think it's directed by Chad Stahelski, which is the main director of the past 4. So I don't know what it's going to be like. I hope they still keep the quality up. But anyway, but yeah. So, but that being said, there are certain hints that he is still alive. In the ending scene, the dog is sitting there with him at the grave of apparently John Wick's, and like the dog's like kind of looks over suddenly, and it's like a quick cut. The camera cuts to the dog. The movie cuts to the dog, and the dog's like, like looks up like this. So it's almost like John Wick was maybe in the distance watching, seeing what was going on, and the dog was the only one that sensed it. I don't know. Like, it does seem a little bit weird why they'd have that extra shot in there, even. Like, the dog could have just simply sat there and just looked. But instead the dog's like something got his attention, right? So that was interesting. But also, not only that, it's also, this is a very subtle thing I kind of noticed. In John Wick Chapter 3, do you remember the scene where he's with the doctor, and the doctor helps him, and then before he leaves, and they go a little bit over time, and the doctor helps him and stuff, but before he leaves, the doctor's like, John, you have to shoot me, because otherwise they're going to think, I did it. You got to make it look like you forced me to do it, right? So he's like, okay, shoot me here, boom, shoot me here, boom. Now, the places that the doctor got shot, right, were the similar places they shot, him and Donnie Yen shot each other in the duel. When you watch it again, compare those two. It actually looks very similar where they get shot. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I'm quite sure, from what I remember, that it was very similar. So someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm quite sure that the bullet where they got shot was very similar to where the doctor told John Wick to shoot. So, that is interesting. So, yeah, that's, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. So, as you can see, this movie, it's insane how good this movie is. I'm honestly shocked, and that's why it ranks so high. And me actually verbalizing it now makes me realize I think this movie totally deserves the place on the list. Because my favorite action movie, if you're wondering, so my second favorite is John Wick 4 now, but the first one, which is interesting, is The Matrix. The Matrix is still my top favorite. I don't know if I don't think John Wick 4 will ever top that, but The Matrix is, my favorite still, and I think it will be that for a long time still. But who knows what will be around the corner for action movies, considering this just came out. Please, Marvel, take some goddamn notes. If you get some action films like this out, you just get some decent stories out there at times. Like Endgame, I give mad props to Endgame. I think that's a pretty damn good film, Endgame, honestly. If they had such great action scenes like this in that movie would have been golden, honestly. That would have been like even more amazing than what it was. But anyway, I think that's it. I think I'm done with this video. I've been talking for over 30 minutes, so I don't know who the hell's going to watch this video all the way through. You know what? Pat on the back. Pat yourself on the back if you've watched this the whole way. Anyway. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the things I've pointed out. I hope I've shed some light to you on some different things to look at when you watch it next time. Especially those thought-provoking things. But even the filmmaking stuff. But anyway, curious to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Did you like this film? Did you hate this film? Do you think I'm just a fool? I don't know what I'm talking about. Put it all down in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. So, thanks for watching, and hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.